Hi, I'm Madison King, and thank you for joining us today. I wish I could see you all out there, but I do know you are there. So thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. I was one of Donna Eden's original students and have worked with her for over 30 years. And I have to say to you, I am eternally grateful for having met this amazing woman all those years ago. Donna manages to share her wisdom with such heart, sincerity, and generosity. She's the real deal. And I have just so enjoyed all these years with Eden Energy Medicine and Donna. At the moment, I run the European training for Donna and also the advanced training in the USA and next year in Europe as well. But enough of that, enough of me. I'm here today to talk with Dr. Claire Willocks, who went through our fundamentals program, and I'd like her to share with you some of her experiences. Because to be absolutely honest, you can get all our logistics and details from the website, which is level1.edenmethod.com. I'll repeat it again later on. You can get all the logistics, all the details on there. But the very best way to get a good feel of what a training is like is to talk to someone who's actually been through it, and Claire has. But before we get to Claire, some of you have asked about the level 1 fundamentals training this year. So again, go onto the website level1.edenmethod.com. Okay, everything is on there. But really quickly, our entry-level training program is starting right now in the spring. Okay, so now is the time to start really thinking about it. And you know, we have classes opening in 50 countries around the world. 50. Or that no 50 locations, not countries. Okay, smack my hand, got it wrong. 50 locations around the world. I'm so excited about it. I can't believe we got up to 50. We are truly global. We are in Australia, Canada, Ireland, England, Scotland, Sweden, Portugal, and of course the home of EEM, the USA. So lots to choose from. But classes start just once a year in the springtime. So now is your opportunity to register. Because of the COVID situation, some of the teachers are offering that very first class online. So check with the teacher of your choice and she'll be able to guide you. You know, we're really trying to just, respect, honor, and sort of move in with all the restrictions. I'm having a little. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. It's starting again this year, and I have adored teaching Eden Energy Medicine. And one of the reasons I love it is I love watching people come into fundamentals, and I love watching them leave utterly in love with it, utterly in love after that first year, and it really does become part of their life. So enough of me. I'd really like to introduce you to Claire, who went through fundamentals, but is now a fundamentals teacher herself. So welcome, Dr. Claire Willocks.
Good morning.
Thank you for being with us today, because I
Thank
know
you.
you're very busy at the hospital, so we appreciate your time. But what I'd love you to do is just share your experience of fundamentals. Tell us a little bit about your background, yourself, how you discovered energy medicine, what drew you to Donna's work, and something I suppose everyone wants to know really. What have been the benefits of energy medicine for you and your work?
Well, I'd say good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to everybody here tonight. Um, I I came to, I don't know if you remember, Maddie, but I beamed into your fundamentals class and I was given a folder saying faculty because for some reason I hadn't actually managed to do my registration properly for fundamentals. And how I came to find out about Eden Energy Medicine was actually I was on another training in the States. I was going to Arizona, into Tucson, Arizona, and I was with a friend in somebody's backyard in Phoenix, and she says, "Let me show you this daily energy routine." And I'm doing all this stuff and going, really, what's this? And didn't really think much about it, but it was a little bit fun. She said, this is wonderful. But it was only actually when I came back to Scotland that I heard that Donna was coming to Edinburgh, which is an hour away. Some people say it's like another world away from Glasgow. We're very close to each other. But it was an hour away, and she came for an evening, both Donna and David. And really, she just is, as you say, she's just so radiant. She's such a natural magnet. And before I knew it, I think you might have been involved here in the background, but before I knew it, I found myself going down to the 5 days, a 5-day intensive in Cardiff. And then the next thing, I had signed up for the training. I wasn't really sure what the training was going to entail. I hadn't read any of the small print, but I just intuitively knew that it was going to be the right thing for me. And I'm so grateful to you, Mary, because I thought there was glitches with the website initially, well, with me filling out the form on the website, and I thought I'd come. I didn't think to ever to check my inbox or anything, and I'm busy, so I was down in London for a meeting, and I thought I'll phone Mary up and say, where is this place Dorking? And she says, you're not actually on the course, but just come along anyway. And that's a sign to show really how busy and how fast paced my life has been. And I would say very much thanks to the training. And also I've had a little bit of extra training in the last year with our lockdown situation. Life has slowed down somewhat for me. But it was such a gift to come down. At the beginning, you might have found me on the first day that I'd be lying flat out on the grass. Excuse me. But I had to recover a little bit. I'd maybe been doing a night shift the night before, and I came in and realised that actually I was absolutely exhausted. And it was the only time that I gave myself and gave my system a chance to calm down and repattern and reprogram itself. I've been blessed myself with very good health all my life. I have, a little bit of tension from doing lots and being very, very busy, but I've never really had any health complaints. My mother, on the other hand, did, and she had symptoms of chronic fatigue for several years, ever since I was 16. My father was a conventional doctor, same as me. He was an OBGYN, and I thought, of course, I would go in my own footsteps. I would be rebellious and I'd do something completely different. But there was something that I really truly admired in his style of, in his way he talked about the passion he had for his specialty, that it really, really did impact on me. But I think I saw that my father and my mother, who was a research chemist, and both very, but very evidence-based, they were pioneers of their own time, that they really, they wouldn't stop it. My father wouldn't stop at anything. He got my mum admitted into his ward for vitamin C injections in the 1980s, and didn't really bother about what other they checked out for geopathic stress, and in the house she was on different forms of nutrition. And I think, although I didn't like to accept it, that had a huge big impact on me. And I then went through university really questioning everything about medicine, questioning why people with autoimmune bowel disorders had, big sections of their colon cut out. Why I just questioned a lot of the harm within healthcare. Although I work within healthcare, and although I see the huge big benefits of modern medicine and the amazing advances that we have made, I knew instinctively there was something else that we could do. And what I realized was I enjoyed being a student. So I spent 7 years doing medicine rather than 5. I did physiology and sports science. I then took time in my doing some research when I was in my training, and that was in exercise and pregnancy. And it was the penny suddenly dropped that I actually, as a doctor, I felt, oh, I'm a bit of a misfit. I am more interested in how the body works than how it doesn't work, than how it fails. Obviously, we are taught how to fix a body, but it was just meeting Donna. It was almost like it was suddenly like, oh, I'm not saying that other people have got it wrong. They just see it differently. But it was like, oh, what I've been thinking all this time, that I've been thinking that I'm crazy, or I shouldn't really be, I'm a sheep and wolf, I'm a wolf in sheep's clothing, or, I don't fit in with this system. It's like, oh, actually, this is completely right. Our body is, can heal itself. So I think that although it was difficult to articulate or difficult to even understand at that time, there was just something there within me that Donna just she pressed a button. And I see so many people, all they need to do is see her and hear her, and it's just this magnetic inspiration that draws people to her. Not that we don't want to be like her, and Donna doesn't ask us to be like her, but actually people want what she's got. And I think that's what she does. It just triggers this yearning for us to come back to what we always knew. And so what fundamentals did was really gave me that assurance that I was on the right path. I seemed to have, I had followed, I'd done several different trainings before then. I had studied 13 years in homeopathy. I had followed another form of energy medicine, which is very similar to the Eden method. Yet, in all the complexity of all the different trainings, the hypnotherapy, I've even done a little bit of EFT, and all the complexity of modern medicine, this was just such a simple approach. And Maddie, if I can call you Maddie or Madison, you couldn't have made it more easy for us in Europe. That to us, Donna was in the States. This was the very first chance that the training was coming to Europe, and I jumped at it. And I'm so, so grateful for you that you actually welcomed me with open arms, even though I hadn't actually registered in the course. And what
Well, how could I
else?
possibly refuse that Scottish
What
accent? Do you know what I mean,
what
Claire? That was wonderful.
what
You know,
else the training did for me, I think, was it actually, and this is something again that they have it, we have it in the States as well. But again, I would say that Madison, you excel at this, is that we created a tribe. We created a tribe of other like-minded people that had similar, either had a similar yearning to just work with the body's energies, to get better, to just to realize that we already have the answers ourselves. So I'm sorry, I'll now let you speak, Maddie.
no, no. No, I think what you're saying, really resonates. That Donna's work really just reminds us actually of what we already
Hmm,
know. We
yeah.
just didn't realize it was in there. But I'm fascinated, Claire, about you walk the two paths. You have all this medical training, you work in the medical field, and you also work with energy. How have you managed to weave that together? Have you got any stories you can tell us, or um,
Yeah, well,
anything that illustrates that?
my job has changed as I became a consultant. In the States, you call it OBGYN, but became a consultant obstetrician and gynecologist more years ago than I'd like to tell everybody in Facebook, but quite some time, but 16 years ago. And my job has changed considerably. So I've actually have I stopped doing major operating. I was always looking towards more natural ways of healing, but also really honoring the person that was in front of me, that they actually had the answers, and it was just being able to, that all we are doing as doctors are helping facilitate people to make the best informed choices that they can for their health and their well-being. And I think by training in the Eden method alongside my hospital work has actually just really reinforced that. It's really made me honor the all the patients that come my way. I call them women because I work with often healthy, fit women who aren't really I wouldn't really refer to them as patients, but it really helps bring up a conversation of what is it that they want, what is it they want for their health, and I can very often can share these simple tips and tools for them. Within women's health as well, I actually unfortunately meet many people who've been traumatized, either traumatized in early life experience or been traumatized by the health system as well. And that's where I do see myself as a boundary walker or as a bridge walker in between the two, that that I acknowledge that hospitals can have a negative effect. We call it a nocebo effect. Not the, so placebo is giving something that's got no active ingredient, but a nocebo effect can mean that actually hospitals can cause harm. And statistics show that 1 in 10 people could are harmed by their, or even more, are harmed by their hospital experience, either from a side effect from drugs or a complication after a surgery, or even hopefully very rarely, a wrong surgery being carried out. So it's actually simplified the way that I practice medicine. That I I very much honour the patient's opinion, and it's about having a partnership with them. And I would say that within the working with the Eden method, that's how I see clients as well with Eden Energy Medicine. And I really believe it's about being in partnership with people, that they need to walk along. They need to. There's a book by Bernie Siegel called Love, Medicine and Miracles, and he was work with the extraordinary patient. So you really do, people do need to have a yearning to want to get better. Sometimes they're not in that place, and that you can really help them to turn that corner, but they need to be able to want to help themselves as well, and we can walk along together and try and help them with that aim.
I love that phrase you use, bridge walker, because you really are one of the trailblazers that, has formed a bridge be, because we're not alternative, we are complementary. The two are not mutually exclusive, which I love. But I'd also like to say, that being a bridge walker in your situation, you have to observe certain boundaries, but energy medicine is so safe, it's so
Yeah.
natural, it's so organic that, do you ever bring it in really just to support
I,
what you're
I
doing?
I do. I bring this in a lot. I managed to. I've beginning to get a little bit wiser with my age, but I managed to actually set up what's called a special interest clinic, and so they couldn't really say this was an energy medicine clinic, but it's a special interest clinic where my colleagues are very happy to refer people who are difficult patients. So with complex problem, either they've had a story of trauma before, they might have complex pelvic pain, they may have an anxiety about childbirth, and so I have absolutely no problem about sharing with patients. It's big, and then I just decided I'm not going to worry about my colleagues are actually delighted. They don't really they wouldn't really mind if I was swinging from a chandelier behind the in the clinic room, as long as they don't have to deal with this complex problem. But I found that I'm using it in the birth room. I'm teaching the birth partners, to as far as the fight flight, helping to modulate the fight flight survival response. And sometimes you can pitch it in different ways as well. There's more and more science that's emerging. People are all interested now in the polyvagal theory, and so we can understand about that. We can actually create new pathways of learning. We can create new pathways of memory. So it's not really that woo-woo. That is being backed up by science the more and more, and it's just given me more confidence to be who I am authentically, that I have a place to play. I have a place within allopathic medicine, and that I don't need to be. I can stand, be loud and proud that I'm also teach and train and see clients within energy medicine as well. So
Wonderful, Claire. Honestly, I want you to be my doctor, please. But I want to take you, before we end, I just want to take you back to your fundamental year. Okay. Because
sure.
I know, having seen you through it, that it gave you a chance to relax. It gave you a chance to take a breather and get in touch with your own energy and, heal yourself. It extended your skills. It created a tribe for you. But I'm going to put you on the spot now, but if I asked you to describe in one sentence what that fundamental year meant to you, your fondest memory, what you felt the benefit was, what would that be, Claire?
It provided a U-turn for me, because it was empowering. It was it taught me about radical self-care, that I actually had to look after myself first before I could look after anybody else, and it was just so much fun.
And that is actually it, because learning doesn't have to be miserable. At Eden Energy, we laugh a lot because, quite frankly, a laugh, a smile is the most basic energy medicine, isn't it?
Yeah,
Okay, Claire, thank you so much for being with us today. I know it's, taking a lot of time out of your day. We do appreciate it. And if any of you are contemplating fundamentals in Scotland, contact Claire. Thank you very, very much,
Thank you.
Claire.
I've even had four doctors training in the course, so I'm welcome. Anybody can come. No experience is required, so anybody is welcome.
And that is the interesting thing in fundamentals, because you can have a class, it somehow just weaves for whatever sort of person you are. It would be equally good for the real beginner that just really doesn't really know what a chakra or a meridian is, a real beginner. It can be very good for other healthcare professionals, because it, as with Claire, it adds another layer, it's another facet, a dimension to your work. Um, and
I've
if you are working in the natural healthcare anyway, and energy anyway, this just adds another layer. Again, it extends. So fundamentals has that real ability to embrace any level of person, any
I
type of person.
I have had 2 or 3 people who would actually classify them as being told that they had a learning difficulty when they were at school, and it's dyslexia, and for them it seems to be very challenging. But I can't go into to do all this learning, and I would say we learn in such creative ways. It's it's so much fun teaching adults. I didn't realize, but I don't think anybody should feel challenged by saying, "Oh well, no, there are doctors and there are social workers and there are other people, there are accountants doing this." Because actually, even if you've not achieved any, final formal qualifications at school, this could be the training for you, and it will change your life.
That's a very, very good point. Very good point indeed. So don't think it's intellectual, because we're not intellectual. We are hands-on, we're feeling, we're fun, but at the same time, we underpin it with amazing professional course notes, research, because as Claire said, so much is being researched now that we can share with you. So we get a really good balance, and we welcome everyone. And as Claire said, what happens is we tend, you're suddenly working with energy. It's a different kind of bond you make with the people around you in class. And you will make a little tribal bond that will be with you for years and years and years. And it doesn't matter where you come from or what your profession is. You have that energy in common, and it is really deep, and it is so wonderful to be able to just breathe and think, I found my tribe. Anyway, I'm getting a bit preachery here. Okay, back to logistics. So what I would suggest is, if we've tempted you to explore a little further, think of us as your springboard, your diving board into energy medicine, and we'd like that fundamentals class to be able to get you to dive into the waters of energy, and you can go into it in whatever depth you want. And I'm going to be really honest with you. If you feel after class 1 you think, yeah, that's really good, but oh god, I've got to do this with my son, I've got that, I haven't got time for it, or oh, I'm not sure, we don't tie you in. You can just register for one class and see how you feel. But most people after that class are hooked. Be warned, you'll be you'll be hooked. Okay, so I'm just going to say one more time, all the logistics, admin, and details are on the website, which is level1.edenmethod.com. And what I would say to you is, whoever you are out there, wherever you are, whatever you do, take a dive into energy medicine. And I promise you, you will not regret it, whether it's just for you, your family, your friends, your clients, your patients, whatever. Try it. You won't regret it. And thank you for being with us today. Bye bye.